update on West Avenue Trails project.
Yeah, so that final plans for that have been submitted to the DOT as of last week or the week before. So as you recall, it's kind of in their hands to get it through bid letting now. We kindly requested / suggested a earlier completion date than the phase 2 project, coincide with the start of school. Whether or not they are receptive to that remains to be seen. History would suggest it'll probably be later in the fall than we'd like, but that should be bid letting here in the next month plus, and then get that constructed this year. Some competitive bids would, should get us in line with the costs or our budget. We did add 10th Street, so our somewhat conservative cost estimates suggest we might be $20,000 over budget there on construction costs, but some competitive bids to get us in line there with what was.
So just to remind people what phase 3 is, it's from 7th Street to Diane, and then that little portion of 10th Street, or no?
10th is here.
From the highway west to the
South of,
here where it,
Oh, yeah,
To a
okay,
cul-de-sac.
yep.
And just to be clear, because I had somebody ask as kids, we will have the same signal lights on the end of this one like we have up by the library.
Correct, yeah.
They told them yes.
Yeah, those ones, same push button signals, those ones are proposed on telespar posts instead of the full footings and aluminum poles. That's mostly due to the ability to be able to move around as additional work takes place in that area, a little less of a rent. But same concept, same functionality.
Okay. Planning and zoning,
no report for staff,
Yeah, they didn't have a meeting.
but the other stuff here is,
but Willow Creek Assurance, that would be, again, DGR telling us that it's okay to accept the streets
no, to
as
sure.
is.
No, the
Is
assurance
that what-
agreement is.
So
The
for the
commercial.
commercial portion out there, but the
Oh.
assurance agreement does says you will put in the infrastructure.
Okay.
And we just work on that, so it's in your packet too.
Yeah,
with
I
the
read
cost.
it, but I didn't quite understand it.
Yeah,
So it's on the commercial area.
yeah, by the, facing the highway.
So there's an original assurance agreement, because this is additional work on top of their previous scope. This is a new assurance agreement for that work. It's ensuring that they're gonna put the utilities in, to the lots. They wanna plat the lots before the work gets done, so this assurance agreement gets in place so they can move forward with the platting. And then, Tobias, Patrick, and I worked with them to, put forth a financial security such that if they default, they're more or less bonded for the work that it'll get done.
And then the second part is, I guess, more what I was talking about, acceptance of CDC North, that's accepting what's been done. That everything is,
That one will also have the contingency on it, so the light poles are all that remain out there. The CDC has paid Excel for that work. It'll take place this spring once material and weather allows. So this motion will allow us to kind of just move forward with that official acceptance as soon as those light poles get in place, not have to wait for another meeting.
So we need both of these things, need motions then?
I mean, two
Okay.
separate. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Me? Okay, I'll make a motion to, I suppose, accept the Willow Creek Ridge Assurance Agreement,
Once
that what you-
financial security, the appropriate financial security.
plus
happens.
the appropriate financial security.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. And then a motion to accept the CDC North Edition infrastructure.
So moved.
To also have the financial,
No, with the contingency they put on the electric,
with the contingency, they put in the electric.
I'll second.
I have a question on that. So we're accepting what's been done?
Correct, yeah, I realize it goes back a couple of years now since it's been put in. But
Right.
they're accepting the water, sewer, and streets as public infrastructure.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Brianna seconded it.
I second it.
Oh. Any other discussion then? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, that motion carried. Alan, government buildings and IT.
Nothing new to really report. We met with CDC and Clayton and council to frame out an agreement to start building a new shop. That's about all I got to report. I don't think we've gotten any further information back or anything signed or anything like that yet, so.
Just a financing letter. Yeah. Okay.
So, we'll go ahead then with, Parks. Mike, we got a new member tonight.
I think that might bring our active members to 2.
Not including you.
No, that was including. I'll say it for the 50th time. We need park board members that are going to show up and be active. I've got 6 or 7 people on the list, and 5 or 6 of them have a conflict every time we try and do anything. It's really been frustrating to try and get anything done. So that's my 50th official plug for Parks Board members. If you know anybody, bring all of your friends. Other than that, I was boosted really, really hard this last month by a number of people that really want a place to put a sheet of ice. Sheet of ice, so ice skating
Ice
or
skating.
hockey or whatever. So starting to do a little bit of work to look at that. Potentially, we don't have a park non-parking surface suitable for it that wouldn't get ruined. Putting a sheet of ice on top of one of the baseball fields or the flag football fields or any of that would cause more damage than is necessary. One of the suggestions was to utilize a portion of the parking lot at Sunset Park. There just aren't a lot of flat spaces around town that aren't already occupied with something. So we're looking at it. In case anybody asks, we're looking at it.
Another place you could look at is the west end of Sunset. There's a pretty big space on the north side of the waterway off of Andrew Drive.
For the
Yeah.
lift station, you mean?
The other side to the north, the other side of the waterway, there's a big grass area.
So we're looking at it. Other than that, parks are closed, snow's on the football field and the baseball field. We could use some more because they sure are gonna need it in the spring, but we're good.
Will the high school, again in March, want to start using?
Yep. Yep, the softball will start up again. The way the weather's been, they could probably start up next week, but yeah, they will, they've got indoor practices planned in the month of March and hopefully be out on part of the fields, but obviously weather dependent.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Jana, finance.
So I think this is back on Jake again. Depreciation amount for CW4 bond. Is that you or that Tobias? That's Tobias.
Yes, for bond, you have to set aside an amount that you deem sufficient for replacement of the infrastructure. You can set any amount. The formula when you do it is project revenue minus debt payment equals depreciation. If you do that, that's like $100. So
Yeah, I mean, we just did, for the last one, you did, 1,000 a month for Palmyra.
So that's the sanitary sewer expansion, right?
Yep, and the new main lift. We just need to set an amount and then authorize another opening in South Dakota fit so we can set it aside.
What did we do for Palmyra?
Did 1,000, which, per month, which, I mean, that's, you did what you had to do for bond. You just have to set an amount. I mean, if you set aside dollar for dollar amount of Palmyra, would be 6 figures, I think, a year.
Yeah.
So, it's, yeah.
So you're not giving us any advice on this?
I'm telling you, you just do 1,000 a month, 500 a month. It's just to set something aside. That's just what it asks for. I mean, it says, it asks you to set aside whatever you have after, project revenue minus debt payment, which is just such a negligible amount.
Right.
I mean, it's not even a token amount. Like, I think the 1,000 a month for Palmyra is all right. I mean, it does add up after a while. There is 50,000 in there, so.
What does that money do, though?
Well, it just sits there, and you can use it for repairs to that system. It's just like, once you sign the bond, you agree to all of the stipulations on the bond, and that's just where it's coming from.
It's basically saying that you are putting
Money
away
aside.
some amount of money, so if something happens
That-
down the line, but they don't tell you how much.
They don't tell you how much, well, they give you the formula, but
But the
it's,
formula is negligible because you're basically down to zero.
yeah. So it's,
Have we dipped into the Palmyra one at all?
pardon?
Have we
used any of
touched-
it?
No,
No.
because you can only use it for repairs up in Palmyra. Like, that's the other part of it too. Like, you're assigning that money then only for those repair projects.
Right, so you don't want to set too much because then you,
Yeah.
And if we didn't have
Use
enough, would we
parking
just use
money.
out of the general fund?
Pardon?
If we didn't have enough money in that fund?
you'd have to dip into the
You would never use general fund money for.
You would never use
water,
you would
sewer
use the
repairs. You would use like.
sewer,
or
water,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
so what you did with the Palmyra is you're essentially using $1,000 that you have laying around per month. Like, that's not derived from this project revenue just to fulfill that bond covenant. I mean, it's.
Yes, if we had to pay more than that, we would just dip into sewer, water, so,
Yeah, so
Make
I
it
mean,
small.
the lowest amount I've seen on the books was $1,000
Oh, okay.
per year. I mean, you said whichever amount, just need to have an amount, because
So is it a yearly thing or a monthly thing?
I just deposit it once a year, the whole amount if the money's there, just be done with it.
I'd make a motion for $1,000 for a year.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carried.
So we're putting 12,000 a year aside for Palmyra?
Yep. We'll just do it on the first day of the year, just transfer it out.
Is that smart use of our money? Can we change that?
I mean, you would have to amend the motion and change it that way, if you want to.
I mean, essentially, I mean, it's
I think
not,
with
it's not
mainly-
money generated from that, I mean,
Revenue,
we're not,
correct.
it's not revenue we're getting
No,
out of that
no.
usage. So we're basically taking other revenue to squirrel it away for this and only this.
correct.
That's limiting that's limiting our money power.
I don't know if we set that amount because we were focusing on the bathroom. I don't know if we were,
No, that was, I want to say it was like 2 years ago or so, and then the intention back then is, if that money is too much, you just reduce the amount, right? I mean, you can amend the motion, reduce that amount, and then going forward, put whatever away. I mean, like I said, the formula that they want you to use is just, it's a negligible amount at that point. And, once again.
I'll leave that to your money brain, but that doesn't seem like a,
well, we can put it on the agenda for,
I mean, just
can't do anything
taking,
about it now, it's not on the agenda, but we can put it
right,
on.
but taking 12 grand and just,
What would a major repair cost down there?
Oh, we won't be far next.
Oh, yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
hundreds.
Like,
Hundreds?
we-
Yeah.
so,
Right.
We'll keep it high then.
I mean, the last time we had the last major repair was the hydrant replacement, and that was, I want to say $20,000, just to fix that T, right, Jenny? The last major water repair, right, was that water hydrant. The hydrant
Like on
Like
Fourth
Fourth
Street?
Street?
On Fourth?
Yeah, where you had to replace the T and to buy a new hydrant, and that was $20,000. I mean,
But this money couldn't be used for that.
It could be used
It'd
for
have to
whatever you
happen
need
up
to do
in
in Palmyra.
Palmyra.
Yeah, it would only be available in Palmyra.
Even if you, I mean, if you had anything major there, I mean, you could.
But we are setting aside our water sewer hookup fee money finally.
Well, I mean, that's, I guess part of my question is that if we're not generating that revenue from that source, we're taking that cash from somewhere else. I mean, is that the best place to put it if we can only use it in that one specific thing? I mean, or where is that, was that money coming out of something that puts money into water sewer? Where's that cash coming from? Does that make sense?
No, it's coming out of the water and sewer revenues there but so there's a difference, right, with Palmyra, there's no surcharge there, like, that's the big difference.
Right.
You just take it out of whatever metered revenues you generate, so you can take it out of really any revenue. Now, if you guys believe the amount is too high, you can just lower it, I mean, it's that easy.
I don't know, I'm kind of trying to walk through this because I don't get it.
Well, it's the esoteric bond language, like, that's where it comes from, the bond says you.
If the bond didn't
set
say it, we
aside-
wouldn't be setting aside
Yeah,
anything, to be
yeah,
honest.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, but if that money is coming out of water and sewer anyway,
Yeah.
would it not be more beneficial to the entire community if we kept as much in water sewer as opposed to a fund that can only work on that specific part of town? Does that, I mean, am I off here?
I see what you're saying, but according to the bond, we have to put something.
Well, if we have to put something, but I mean, can we do 1,000 instead of 12,000?
Yeah.
I mean, you can set aside whatever amount you want, right? I mean, if you want to use it for, you put aside $50. I mean, 1,000 was agreed on because that seemed to be a reasonable amount back then years ago.
Right.
So, I mean, if you want to change it, change it in March and then going forward, this is what it is. It's 1,000 a year. And that's not the issue. It's just you want to comply with that.
Oh,
stipulation
absolutely.
there. I mean, I see your point where you say, well, why assign it for that? But once again, if it was not manageable, the recommendation back then would have been $1,000 a month. And that was really, you have to think just for the general fund, we're setting aside almost $10,000 for general operating reserve. So, I mean, it's however you guys want to do it, right? Next month, you want to change it down to, that's fine. Let's get up on that.
And I'll just add to that again, the water and sewer hookup money is now in a separate account, but that money is there for the whole town if something happens for repairs, am I right? For close?
Yeah, I mean, it has to, that is, yeah, I mean, as long as the parameters of the ordinance that this is, yeah.
So in other words, we can't go use it for a park or
Nope.
whatever, it's for water and sewer.
Correct, like infrastructure improvements, debt retirement, all of that. And that was changed years ago too, because it was then used for, I don't think pet projects, but like projects that were unrelated to water.
I'm just looking at it from a financial flexibility standpoint. I mean, if that's $11,000 that we could keep in the actual water sewer fund, so it's not restricted. I don't know if that matters. How much is in the water sewer fund?
Cash,
Yeah,
not super hot in water, I mean, we're hovering right around 120,000. Sewer, we're a little higher at 400, but
Yeah.
then, with water, we're also getting reimbursements, I mean, it's just, yeah. Like, if you wanna say, hey, change it, it's just, if the money's just sitting in the, like, at least.
well, I'm deferring to you two, because I'm not a money guy.
But we had the motion and we passed it, so
For this one.
Yeah,
for
we
the-
can,
Yeah,
we can start there and then next, year consider, but the main thing is that's earmarked for that area, but the water sewer hookup fee, which is gonna grow pretty good.
this is for
We're-
general.
We're now using it for water and sewer, and it got used for other things before, so.
Oh, yep, so city shop financing, so in the packet is two, I guess, two different banks. So we have Bank West and DNB National Bank in their proposal for financing. I was gonna ask Tobias, I should have asked you, what is WSJ?
Wall Street Journal prime rate.
Okay. Like, I do not know.
You don't see it a lot anymore on, like, loans for loans.
So how do we, so do I just, what is the current?
Well, so essentially, I mean, for Bank West, if we look, the floor is gonna be 6%. So that's gonna be the lowest you're gonna go on the interest for, the, loan.
And DNB was 5.75.
And we've used D and B with our, Crooks Housing for that bond.
I also didn't like, I don't, well, where Bank West broke it out into like these phases and
Yeah,
then,
so they broke it out in two phases. One is a construction loan, and then you pay off that construction loan with a regular loan, which the nice thing about DNB, they say, you know what, we're not even gonna mess around.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
gonna be a general obligation, we're gonna give you the money.
right?
And, so, I do like Bank West proposal, it made sense, right? But when you look at the interest rate, and that's the only thing that matters, DNB is the lowest. I talked to First Interstate again, they would hover at above 7%. So, it's just so, the way it would be, so when you look at Bank West, they want to do interest only, which it's not necessarily ideal.
Right.
DNB is willing to do principal and interest payments right away, so you can work on that principal, reduce your interest that you're paying. So,
I guess, I mean, to be honest, when I was looking at this, I didn't see any advantage of going with Bank West.
well, I just present all the proposals and you guys can decide. My recommendation would be DNB National Bank. They've been good to work with the CHRC. And they're good to work with here. They have, I mean, continuously, even when we ask for other things, they have provided the most competitive rates
Right.
on the interest. I mean, that's without a question. So this is, if we close within 30 days, if we can sign this, then we'll just go to Meyer Henry, he'll prepare the documents, and then they're willing to disperse this by March. So what that means is, we just sit up in the account, we would start making payments, which is roughly $7,000 a month for, principal and interest. And the way they would do it here is, Clayton, like CDC,
He's on board too.
so
Dana.
So CDC shows up, we send all the bills up to DNB just wires the money. I mean, it'd be pretty non-contentious, and then the only, the one thing that I talked to all of these banks about is there needs to be an account with a compensating balance, and essentially that's 1 year's worth of payments, or we just send a check up there. None of them insisted on that, but that is usually what you do as a courtesy to have that there. I mean, that's, CHRC has that too, I think, like 1 year.
So then land and everything would be closed on as one package, not,
All of it one package, we wouldn't have to mess around with ownership of the land, that's why this is nice. Now, key part is the general obligation of us, right? So we'll count against constitutional debt capacity.
right?
So that's the one thing, but so as Bank West has structured it the same way.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's just, unless you wanna figure out another vehicle with Meyer Henry, like sale, leaseback, I would go with this general obligation, because essentially means they're trusting us we'll make the payment.
Well, it seems to be the most easiest to work with, that they know us. We haven't missed a payment with them, and make it easy for the Crooks Development Corp. As they move to turn a bill into you, you pass it on
Greg, and he
to
was,
them.
and they'll just wire the money, and the nice thing here is, with them, that they're doing all the facilitation at the end. And I think it's also because it's time sensitive, right? We've been working, I think, on this month and a half, 2 months.
Mhm.
So in order to get the other parts moving, we're getting the agreement done by March. I think it'd be prudent to make a decision. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, you can say, well, please.
So you want a motion on
Yeah, I need a motion to whichever proposal you want to go with, and that I can execute that. Or you can execute that, and whoever wants to sign that, doesn't matter. You can all sign it. Information, just so that way we can lock in the rate. Also with DMV, they have removed the prepayment penalty. The only thing, and that's what Alton said, is, well, we don't want you to come back and, like refinance this all the time. That's the
Right.
other part, but, they said a few years down the road, if the rates go down, you can refinance. Like, that's why they put the prepayment penalty in there, is because otherwise, well, rates drop 4%, well, we'd like to refinance. Oh, no, okay. So they're pretty good. Otherwise, all the other terms are pretty standard, right? Us paying for the appraisal, title, the bond counsel. And bond counsel will probably be 1% usually of the loan amount, so that'd be 10,000.
So do we just need a motion to accept DMV's?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the paperwork can be executed.
I'll make that motion.
Or second?
I will second.
That was a second.
Yeah, sorry, I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We talked a little bit about animal control earlier.
I got two things.
Okay,
I touched on it. The sheriff now has, deputies now have the capability of writing citations for any large. We've had a problem in the old part of town with the dogs running, they receive letters. There's no good, business from the Humane Society, there's no good. So finally, the sheriff's department did cite $100 and it was paid to that. But, it's nice to know the response is quicker out here than the Humane Society, the Humane Society will come too, but oftentimes the deputy is within a couple of minutes of crooks. So that has worked out, that they can do that for us. I think they do it for another town too. It just expedites things, especially with somebody that has been a problem, they need to come out here and see the dog is running while the deputy is here, so,
I've definitely seen their presence in town
yeah.
a lot more lately. And I don't know if that's just because of the school or what, but you definitely,
I visited with Captain Sister, they have the fee schedule too, for all the other parts of, ordinance 174, so as we move down, with the chicken thing, we can write violations on it too. Second thing I need your advice on, also Superior, ever since last June, they had two vehicles parked in, motor vehicles, two cars parked in the backyard, have been there for months. They've been receiving letters for months. In November, I wrote them a favorite letter, and they received it, no party sounded a white call, and she said the husband's in the hospital, had been for weeks, didn't know when he was getting out. I said, okay, we'll work with you, but we can't leave it open-ended, what do you suggest? And she said, well, she called me back on the 1st of January, which she did, and she said one of the cars was leaving that week. Well, it never happened. Meanwhile, the husband is still in the hospital, and snow got high. Well, I learned since then that the husband has been out of the hospital now for a week or two, and he's driving, so evidently he's well enough to get around. I had not pursued this only because the husband was in the hospital, and I didn't think the public appearance was very good of evading property, the husband's in the hospital, and she called and told me the hospital. So I just wanted to let them continue, maybe another letter saying, problems still here, we need to abate this. I've been dealing with these people since June, and 2 years ago, there was always a motor home or something in the backyard. This time it's two cars, and they can't see from the street as you guys are.
so you're just saying probably time to send another formal letter with the
Yeah,
end date?
and I
Okay.
called, husband's in the hospital, I didn't think
Yep.
that looked too good. The city's trying to date somebody knowing that the husband's in the hospital, husband's out running around, I understand, so he's well enough to do that, I don't know if that's work, but he has been driving for the past week or two. I just want to be able to get your permission to continue, if maybe never make that letter and say, come on, we got enough time, we gotta go. So, I've been dealing with these people since last June. Before that, it was a motor home. Before that, it was something else. One vehicle disappears, and another one shows up in the back.
Great,
That's all.
thank you. Other business volunteer acknowledgement, I just want to get Connie Haugen's name on. She kind of took over the flower bed, but Ron and Judy Person, like them on, they usually have something to do with the flowers. They just can't, they're too old to get down on their knees anymore, so Connie is doing a great job. But I'd like to get them on. And we need to set the Board of Equalization meeting, date and time.
My favorite meeting of the year.
I don't know, could we just meet and talk about chickens instead?
Yeah.
I take anything over. That's, has to be anytime after March, isn't there?
Third Monday in March, you guys have to open the books.
So we're not really setting the date, that is the date.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
Need a
So
motion
March
for that?
18th.
just on the time, you guys decide when you want to start that evening.
3 a.m., 6 o'clock,
Okay.
Yeah,
What's your motion?
6 o'clock,
6 o'clock?
on March 18th.
March 18th.
Do we know who the school board rep will be yet? They're probably
They
determining
were
that
doing
tonight,
that
probably.
tonight,
Okay,
as I saw it on their agenda.
okay.
I'll contact them tonight or tomorrow.
Do we have a second on that?
Do we need a second? Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Uh, First reading of ordinance 336. An ordinance of the city of Crook, South Dakota pertaining to the access to metering infrastructure and inspection thereof. First reading of ordinance 337. Be it ordained by the city of Crooks that the following sum is supplementally appropriated to meet the obligations of the municipality for the fiscal year of 2024. We did the chickens. And resolution 2024-10, adopt and establish a profit margin for Crooks Gas. I think we did this a year or two ago.
Yeah, 2021 was the last time. What this would do is it increases it by 10 cents a unit. When you look at our past few years, Christmas Utilities had a lot of outlay, but its capacity, radio readout rate, we have not been as aggressively recouping that as we should have, and we will have future outlay. That right now is, past outlay and future outlay is roughly $1.7 million. It will take, by my estimation, 35 years with the current rates and CPI increases to recoup that. So, I spoke to Mayor Osby and Jen on this, so this should be considered and probably.
Yeah, I think it's fair business to do that and watch out for ourselves for what may happen in the future with gas lines or upgrades. So we need a motion on that.
Yes,
Tobias, remind me what MCF stands for.
that is 1,000 cubic feet, so that's essentially what we add to the units, and then we margin.
So what are we at right now?
We're at 3.7578 for MCF.
Okay. So this is going $1, basically.
is increasing it by $1, but then you have to divide that number by 10 because that's what's added to the unit. So this is the margin that we add on each heating unit sold to the customer.
Okay.
You're making my brain hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, the easiest way to look at it is you charge the customer exactly what it cost us, and then the PMA would be whatever we're charging above that. I mean, in the simplest of terms.
Right.
And so we pass along all the man transportation charges, I mean, everything that is needed to get the gas up here.
So instead of,
The markup here, easiest terms, it's the markup.
it's the markup
I
to
gotcha.
cover the transportation charges, not just the gas itself.
It's a whole gas company as a whole, the labor. the
Fuel.
Cost of getting the
Yeah, so.
The commodity itself.
Yeah, I mean, everything, and this actually is also covering operating expenses, right? Like, we're not passive, so this covers other, outlay that we have as well. So when we bill, we take demand charges, transportation charges, annualized demand charge for, well, I don't want to get into the reason of more irritation. And then this is what we add, and this markup includes though, other operating expenses that are not covered by the raw commodity purchase and those costs associated with bringing it up here. Now, if there is some discomfort with the number, anything is better than what we currently have. And the example I want to point to is last year, the gas fund actually reduced physical cash. So there's good book income, but actual cash went down. And that is because there was significant outlay, talking DRS, reconstructing services, so. And there will be significant outlay in the near future. Thinking moving steel along 258 will be most likely $500,000 plus.
Are we still doing the town border station upgrade?
We just finished that, and that
We got it
cost-
done?
That was another 86 that was spent.
I don't see too much more on 258, but what we did have to do, before 71st, we had to move the gas line from one side of the road to the other, and then reattach all the services again. So I mean, that was an expense. Big one in itself, because they moved the gas line on the east end, or on the west end, and the city supplies and like that.
That's down on Marion Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was what, 150,000?
110, 110 minimum. So what's included in the cost calculation, it's really DRS moving, it's buying capacity, it's radio, those are benefits to the system, right? It's system-wide benefits, it's not where we end up there in that unfortunate case, having to reconstruct services. And it's also to look at the future, right, like meter replacement. We're talking about planning ahead.
And we last said it 3 years ago.
Yeah, and then it increases by the CPI.
Right.
So something doesn't add to me, and I'm sure it's because I don't understand, but this, like right now, we're at 3.7578.
Mhm.
Where do I see that on my bill?
You don't.
Because,
It's the per unit charge.
okay, so like, I'm looking at this month's bill.
It was like $1.17. right?
Okay, so my usage was call it $1.18.
Yep.
So this would go up by a dime?
Yep. No,
That's what is that where we're getting at?
It would go up 10 cents a unit, yeah. So we're talking 10 units, $1.
Right, but if
Yeah.
so it would go up, so instead of $1.18, it would be $1.28 again. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Okay, now I understand. Now I'm okay.
And this is the 10 cents added, that is, so really the range is between 6.5 cents and 10 cents. 10 cents is what I would recommend the best way to make sure that there is, money there to defray this future outlay. You can start at a lower, I mean, you can just add a penny, that's better than, as it is presently.
Well, it wouldn't be it'd be your usage is your units, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So like this last bill is kind of a tough one to look at because we had a very cold,
Yeah.
Actually, we
Snap.
had better rates in
Yeah.
January.
the rates
We
were
did.
better, but the
December.
usage was probably a little bit higher than normal
Right.
because we had
Yeah.
some very cold.
Yeah,
But so if I used 100 units, that's a pretty high usage for the month roughly,
Yeah.
right? So then it'd be like that'd be $10
yep, $10 on the overall bill.
on the overall bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 cents a unit, so the
Yep.
unit is,
I mean, because I used 110 units last month, which is pretty high because we had several days of very cold. So that's probably the max use, or pretty much the max usage. So for that month, that would have been a $10 increase.
I'm on board.
So that would be the most anybody I would think on average would, in the very, very cold months.
yeah.
Unless keep your house at 75 degrees. And I mean, I'm sure, and some people maybe do that, but yeah, in one of my highest months, it would cost me $10.
Any other discussion?
No, I
Is
think
there
it
a
helps.
motion?
No, I just want to say, I think it helps, Mike. I see what you're saying. It helps to put it into like,
Yeah.
what's it gonna cost me?
On what-
Like in an average use, a month or whatever, so. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Last resolution 2024-11, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Crooks, South Dakota to amend resolution 2023-20.
So Tobias made an error. No, I'm just kidding.
I have to read it myself with copy and paste, and then as I enter the resolution, I'm like, ooh, this is not right. So it should have not been mayor for the 100, should have been elections, so my mayor culpa.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
So is there a motion for that?
Yep, it was
Second?
already made.
Yep, I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And we're back to Mike.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Eddie,
Eddie, soldier.
Get your form to fill out yet? You want to do 1 year or 2 years?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know yet. I get 20.
What's that? Stick around, I can always quit.